Welcome everybody. This is Black Hat 2026. I haven't even started yet, and we're already working. Seems yesterday I saw you guys.
Yeah.
Because I did.
That's right. You did. Exactly.
We hung out last night. It was really cool, and I felt like we could have done this conversation recorded last night, because we're kind of recap what we were going over exactly last night. Because this is not about something that is script. We don't have Q&A. The company that we're talking about, still Patriot Partners, is its own brand. We just figured out what was needed to be removed from the noise and the fog. Every time I talk to you, I talk about fog. I don't know why. But so this is a little bit of an origin story, because a lot of people already know who you are, but there is a lot of new companies, a lot of new practitioners coming out every day, and you've been in this industry for a long time. So we're talking about still Patriot Partners, Jason Ford, Michael Parisi. I'm really happy to have this first conversation of Black Hat 2026 with you guys, because it's going to be fun. So what are we going to talk about? Let's start with you two. A little introduction about who you are, Jason, and how you ended up working with this guy here, because I've been knowing for a while.
Which, that's a journey unto itself.
There you go, could be an episode.
It could, absolutely. Maybe multiple episodes, because that's a lot of, and alcohol probably involved, I guess, yeah. So I mean, I started out in the late 90s as a government contractor in the Bureau, worked for the chief scientists, doing digital case transformation work with them. Got fortunate coming out of college, kind of got into that space, exposed to FISMA, SAS 70 at the time. Was a network engineer, so doing a lot more technical work, if you will. Young guy, not so much anymore, but kind of cut my teeth there, and then moved into building a platform for the Treasury, selling savings bonds after that. And it was before PCI was the thing, early 2000s. People buying them online, selling credit card transactions for the Treasury. And I started my first company in 2004. From there, we're doing publicly facing websites, Drupal, Magento, WordPress, engineering heavy. This is all before AWS existed, all before Azure, all before hyperscalers. Built on-premise clouds using OpenStack, technology driven, heavy technology. Fast forward to early 2010s, closed Department of Energy as a customer, was doing FISMA for that. They asked me to do FedRAMP, went through FedRAMP really early on in that program in 2013, and then fast forward, got acquired in 2017, had 36 authority to operate at that point with multiple agencies. So really heavily focused on engineering, really heavily focused on compliance, regulatory spaces. And then
But engineering first.
Engineering first, yeah, absolutely. And running a business at that point, it was the first time for me doing that in a lot of ways. So trying to figure that out as we went, and as an engineer from the start, how to figure out how to be a business operator, what return on investment meant, those kind of outcomes was really important. Handcuffs came off after 18 months, and then we started this, right? And then kind of do that for other people now.
That's cool. That's cool. You always need to have your own experience of things to really understand how it goes, the practicality of how to resolve problems.
Right. The pain.
The pain.
Yeah.
The pain.
Lots
that goes
of pain.
through that. The pain.
Yeah.
Are you a pain? Are you being a pain?
Sometimes. I don't know.
Michael Parisi.
And a pain.
A little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm the Chief Growth Officer here, still Patriot Partners. Been here about 18 months. Prior to here, I was with a cybersecurity assessment firm, attestation firm for 2 years. Ran all their sales, their partner program. Before that, with the cybersecurity certification body for 5.5 years, and about 15 years in the Big Four, split between PwC and Deloitte. So, what's interesting is I've seen this from every angle, from a business owner's perspective that we'll probably talk about, from an auditor's perspective, and now from a consulting and advisory standpoint as well. And what is most fulfilling for me here in this position is we are in a position collectively to really guide people to make business decisions. As an auditor, you're not in that position, right?
Yeah.
You need to stay independent, even though you're chomping at the bit to say, don't do that, don't make that decision, it doesn't make sense. Now we've got the freedom to do that. And one of the greatest things that Jason and I do all the time is having a discussion with individuals or an organization and telling them not to go in a direction that they think they want to go in, because it doesn't make sense from a business perspective.
And that's about being consultant. We were talking about this last night. It's almost like what Sean and I do. It's what you do, but for a different, same industry, but from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you need to be above the part. You need to abstract yourself to really judge what's going on. And if you're not the right person, maybe you have some partners that you can involve, and you say, look, you should go somewhere else, or do something else.
Absolutely.
Or get on a different journey.
Right.
Because maybe where you want to go is not where you should go.
Yeah.
And we need to be honest about this.
Exactly.
And I'm going in here because you just launched a new website. I got lucky enough to get involved into that, and we kind of dig into figuring out what really still Patriot Partners brand represent.
Mm-hmm.
And what is fun is that I realized right away that the brand is in the name, right? It's already there. It's the way that you feel, it's the way that you act, and is how strong you feel about the experience that you need to bring on the table. So we come up with this journey metaphor, and we try to help people figure out where they are before we tell them where they should go, and if we can help you to get there. So summarize that a little bit. Why the name? Let's start with that.
Yeah, that's always a good, everyone has their own theory whenever they hear the name of the company, and it's like, is it this? It's very patriotic, right? And it is, right, from that perspective. But it really does come from, just where Amy and I came from our backgrounds, where we grew up, our ethics, how we function, how we act, is kind of where we got the name from. So I'm from Pittsburgh, right, originally. It's where I was born and raised. So Steel is for Steelers, Steel is for Pittsburgh, right? So that's very much that. Patriot, obviously Boston, and that's where Amy was from. So having those two things kind of be the root of who we are and what our values, our ethics, our core values, those resonate with that. And then we're partners, right? So as from that perspective, and then we partner with our customers as well, right? Because we're doing, we'll advise, we'll deploy, and we'll operate environments. We're partnering with that entity in order to do all that stuff. So that's kind of where it came from. And honestly, it felt good when we figured it out, because as entrepreneurs or business owners, you go through a lot of iterations of names and what fits who you are and things of that nature, and you have to kind of figure that out. And if you don't do that early on, we didn't want a word with a letter replaced, like a lot of entities here do. Mm-hmm. We wanted something
trying
that
to be clever.
Trying to be clever, right? And trying is the right word there. It's one of those things that we just wanted to make sure it represented us, and I think it does that.
And I think it's really important now to, in this time and age of social media and transparency, you can't pretend to be anymore.
Right.
The strongest brand is the one that you don't have to remember the lie that you have to tell when you're making a sale.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yes, yes, amen.
And we have many sponsors here, so I'm not going to name anybody or judge, but you decide which path you want to go. Do you want to go the flashy road? Do you want to have something that everybody is the right client for you?
Right.
Like I just got the right solution for you, and then I show up and they got the right solution for me. How can your approach is honest.
Right.
So how does it come up with the relationship that you build?
Yeah, I think the partnering aspect back to the brand is what it's all about. Whether that's partnering with entities directly, whether it's partnering with other partners, right? Whether that be VARs, audit partners, etc. We just have an open mind, right? In terms of anybody that we talk to. And as Jason and I and Amy say all the time, business owners first, engineers second, security compliance people third, in that order for a reason, because we want to instill that trust to say we know what you're going through as an individual or an organization from a business perspective, what makes the most sense relative to the success of your business. And that's how we approach every conversation, is that way. Kind of unique especially in today's day and age. You know, there's a lack of trust that I think a lot of individuals and organizations have. They don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
With the onset of AI, with the onset of the sales motion, as you know, just go down to the floor and you'll figure that out. Right? We always talk about the fog of more. I think people are looking for some level of a trusted advisor to help them understand what they should be doing.
And as we said many times, that things has changed, and maybe it's never been what we thought it was, but you don't make the sale really on the floor.
No.
I mean, the sale is made by word of mouth. It's made in the corridor. It's made at the dinner.
Right.
It's made when you get together for a drink or a glass of water, whatever. We don't force anybody to drink. And that's where you create that trust. And then you can open up and be honest. Because where I want to go is, as a consultant, sometimes you kind of have to call the bullshit. That it's involuntary. But you need to abstract yourself, like I was saying at the beginning, and you give that assessment from a third-party point of view. You're not invested in the company. So in what position, where are usually your customer in their journey to FedRAMP or other certification?
Yeah, it really varies depending upon the outcome that they're trying to achieve, right? I mean, compliance is just one outcome of many. It could be better maturity in their operational workflows, right? It could be integrating AI into DevSecOps. It could be, I need better visibility into something. It really does come down to, it's not a tool. Don't keep buying tools to try to solve the problem. That isn't the way it works. It is very much a holistic, you need to take a step back, take a holistic view and approach to it, and say, what makes sense for my organization? Because you're unique too, as an organization. So what works for someone else may not work for you, right? And I think that's the biggest challenge that most people have in their maturity journey, is they don't know where they are in their maturity journey, right? So that is usually the first thing that comes out is that, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, or maybe I am.
Or maybe
right?
more.
It could be on the other side of being a positive, that you are a 4 out of 5 instead of being a 0.5 out of 5, right? And it all depends upon who that is and who they are, and it's very snowflakey, unfortunately, and AI can't tell you that, right? It just can't, right?
It can tell you if you already told AI that, and then it's going to mirror it to you.
Exactly, it's going to parrot it back at you, and it's going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I think ignorance is bliss, and some of our best conversations is people don't know what they don't know, right? So they think everything is going as well as it could be. I'm not talking about just from a vulnerability perspective, I mean from a business standpoint as well. And within the first 10 to 15 minutes, we can't help ourselves. We're just throwing out ideas to say, why are you doing it that way? You should do it this way. This makes a lot more sense. And they're like, well, I never thought about that, right? Those are the fun conversations.
Have you considered
over drinks, of course?
The have you considered conversations.
Right.
It's not even a forced. That's the thing. It's like we don't try to force those conversations on someone and say you should be doing it this way, right? Or downcast or downplay their thought. It is truly an iterative thing.
Right.
And thinking about like how does this best approach for you, and that individual inside that organization is also something you have to consider when you look at this too, because you as an executive, or you as a director, or you as a VP may or may not be able to move the ship that fast, right? Because you're too large, or you have too many headwinds in front of you, or you're about ready to do a couple acquisitions and you don't want to have that kind of stress on the organization in order to figure that stuff out. Or maybe you should have the stress on the organization before you do that, right? And try to figure that stuff out before you go through it, because then once you get into those motions, it's too late, right? Then you have so much more damage you got to repair.
And as a matter of fact, on the website now there is a qualifier where people come in, if they want, they answer some questions, and they can kind of start figuring out before they even talk to you guys at what stage of the journey or where are they in that particular moment. They may need, I have no idea, I need to get started, but they may be at the position on the other extreme where I know exactly where I'm going, but I need help to execute. And then everything in between, right?
Or they're off track, right? Like they started down a certain path.
They're in the desert, they have no idea.
Exactly.
Desert of the damned.
How easy is it to be honest, and how much is it appreciated?
I think it's pretty damn easy for us.
For you guys, because you're just like, that's the way it is.
Maybe that's the Northeast roots. Right?
Yeah.
It's definitely easy. You know, I think it's very appreciated. You know, at some points it may not be overly appreciated up front.
Yeah.
But once they have a chance to
little
process
friction
it,
at the beginning, like, who the hell are you?
That's right. Once they have a chance to process it and maybe even validate it, then they see the value in that. But I mean, just everything that we do, right? The fact that we're tool and solution agnostic, right? Like, there's no motivation for us to push an individual or an organization in one direction versus another.
Right.
And to your point, Marco, I think regardless of where they are on that journey, we can still help them. So we're not going to push them during one path to do something when we can help them regardless of where they are from a journey perspective.
Because you don't have a product on the shelf that you need to sell.
That's right.
You don't have agenda that you need
That's
to
right.
sell.
That's right. Yeah.
And the tempering of that advice, sometimes to answer that question from how do they take it, right? So it all depends again on the individual and what their tolerance to change is, right? And acceptance of outside ideas or a different viewpoint. Not everybody has the same level of acceptance of all those things, right? And that's the hard part, I think, for us, is that we have to figure that out really early on of what that level of acceptance is.
Yeah.
And if we don't figure that out and we make a recommendation in a way that is not in the acceptance path, it falls apart fast, right? And that's the challenge for most people, is they don't come into the conversations that we're having with an open mind, right? And having that open mind is key.
And we answer questions. One of the biggest feedback points we get all the time is that we actually answer questions. Right? There's so many vendors that maybe individuals will ask questions of, and, it depends, or we need to know more information about this, or we don't have a perspective on this. We always answer the question. And I think that's one of the biggest feedback points that we get.
But I think it comes down to the fact that you've been there.
Right.
You know that scenario. Maybe you've lived it, or you lived it with another customer before.
Right.
It's not theoretical.
Exactly.
It's very practical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we can start wrapping this conversation, and I know we will have a few more later on, which is always fun, and probably with Sean, so we can dig a little deeper in the process. But right now, a call to action, one from you and one for you, for people get in touch with you guys and be open and honest and ready to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go first.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is it's like if you are looking for answers, maybe you don't have, maybe you think you have a direction, right? And you just need it validated, things like that. Just find us on our website, right? Go through the submission process to get in touch with us. Find us on LinkedIn. We're pretty findable. That's not hard. So just kind of go through that process and again, come with an open mind.
Or in person in one of the many events that you guys do, because that's another
we're
thing
everywhere.
that we'll talk, because you like the in-person thing, and it's part of being in the name, again, is in the brand, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
All right, your call to action.
I mean, my call to action is to verify what you think your path is from a business perspective. Don't just look at it relative to information or cybersecurity. Don't look at it relative to the price tag, right? Verify whether it makes sense from a business standpoint. Because whoever you got that information from, it's just one source.
One data point.
Right, one data point, right. So use us in that way to verify. And we're happy to have those conversations. I mean, we hold free workshops all the time for anybody through our website, as you know. You can sign up and ask us anything from a business perspective.
Very good. Well, everybody, thank you for listening, and take action. If you feel like you need a little bit of guidance, or just share your perspective, maybe you guys can listen too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love to listen to your story. I want to hear more. So, Jason, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Michael,
thanks, sir.
Always a pleasure. And everybody stay tuned, because there's going to be so many more of this recording right here, or down on the floor as well, in the expo floor. Take care, everybody.